A lot of people think that the most important part of a blade is the cutting edge, but I'm here to tell you that sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's this, the handle. Today we're breaking down rat tail, half tang, and full tang blades, and I'll tell you which one I would trust the most. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Trevor Barrett, and I am a Forge and Fire champion, and I have been smithing, making knives and swords and axes and all sorts of things for 10 years now. So here's my breakdown. So firstly, let's define exactly what we're talking about. When you hear rat tail, you're looking at something like this. Now what it is it's usually a very short tang with maybe a all thread threaded on, and you'll see it's usually attached by just a single weld point. This is generally what it's referred to as rat tail, and it's usually very weak. Then we have what's commonly called full tang. On a knife, it'll look a little bit like this, which means that this whole section under the wood, under the handle material, is steel, and it runs all the way through. This is a very strong option. It's also a little bit of a heavier option. And finally, you'll have what's called half tang. Usually means it stops right about here, and the rest of it is just handle material. There's pros and cons to each one, so let's talk about it. Now, a quick note before we go on, when it comes to swords or daggers, where it is what we call a through tang and then pinned over on the other side, that makes for a very strong blade if it is done well and fitted well. So if you do that, especially if you keep the tang nice and soft compared to the blade steel, that allows a little bit of shock absorption where it dampers that force that goes through the blade when you're using it. So this is a very strong way to do both swords and daggers. Now let's talk about some of the pros and cons of these blades. If you're going with a rat tail, it's very lightweight, very easy to hold, but that comes with risks. It's very weak. If you're going with a half tang, this is a very good design for a medium to lightweight utility knife. But again, when you need to go towards stronger tasks, then you're going to find that you're going to have a fracture point somewhere in there if you abuse the blade too much. And then it comes down to the full tang. Well, these are the strongest for sure, but they're also the heaviest. So while it can handle heavier, medium to heavy tasks, the lightweight stuff may be a bit taxing. So then what would I recommend? Well, it all depends on the practicality, the real world usage. What are you buying this blade for? If you're buying a replica, then a rat tail tang is just fine. It's going to sit there on this wall and it's not going to do anything, but it's going to look good. But you know that inside it has a very weak construction. If you're looking for EDC, everyday carry, light work, camping knife, and you find that it's a half tang, that'll do just fine for you. There's nothing wrong with that. It'll be a good design. But if you want a blade that you put in your go bag and you just leave it there, or you want to use something that you know is going to be strong and dependable, but you don't mind a little bit extra weight, well, then a full tang is where it's going to be. Why do we say that? But because it all depends on where you're going to have the pros and cons for what you're doing. If you were to try to use a rat tail out in the real world, well, then you would find that right about here with a couple of whacks on whatever you're test cutting or a tree, whatever, right there, you're going to have a snap. And that whole handle assembly might actually come apart on you. It's not very safe. It's not durable at all. But then if you're using your half tang blade and you use it for something stronger than what it can handle, if you're going to have a break, you're going to have it right about there in the middle, where that hard steel meets that softer material. Interestingly enough, if the blade is made well and you use a full tang blade, then where you're going to have the damage is likely not going to be the blade. It's going to be the handle material, the scales. That's where you'll find your damage. But again, that's very easy to fix in a pinch. Paracord, wrap it up, some scrap leather, wrap it up, and you're back to business. Now let's debunk a couple of quick myths that we might see in the knife world regarding different types of tangs. For instance, full tang does not always mean superior. It just depends on the task. Rat tail does not mean useless. It just depends on what it's for. Display model, perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with that. You weren't going to use it anyway. And remember, weight does not always equal strength. And it depends on many different factors, many different construction types, steel types, balance points. It all depends. And just to interrupt real briefly, guys, if you're interested in any of this stuff at all, then make sure you subscribe, because I'm working on a glamdring inspired order. What I've been doing lately is with each order that I get, I break it down and I show a full build process, because I find that a lot of people really enjoy seeing, you know, what's behind it. We'll be doing more about the different equipment, things that you can do to get started, what it's like to run the business. Here's a quick preview of the shop. You know, I got a bunch of different things in mind for expanding the YouTube thing. And the reason is because I'm trying to build this for my family, take care of them, maybe get monetized on YouTube. So please ask questions. Please let me know what you're thinking. Please comment, like, subscribe, do all that stuff so that there's plenty of content for me to share. I mean, there is already, but then I get to, you know, kind of show you what I'm working on and give you something that you guys want to watch. Anyways, back to the video. Now, as a smith who actually makes these things for himself, I made this one here. What would I say? Well, for me, I am a lover of the craft. I love the construction and the skill behind putting these blades together. So for me, there's no point in a rat tail tang. I don't like it. I have no use for it. I don't make decorative things. I make things to be used. So if I'm making a camping knife or a hunting knife or anything like that, full tang all the way. If I'm making swords or daggers, through tang all the way, because my products are made to be used. Even if they're intended for decoration for the customer, I go by the mindset that if you pick it up, you can use it. So full tang, through tang, and I don't know, I've never done a half tang. I probably wouldn't ever do it because it's not that much more to add to the rest of the tang. So, too long didn't read. Rat tail tang, display, half tang, light work, light duty, full tang. That's where it's at. If you want to see me make a blade from start to finish, just make sure you subscribe. Check out all the other things I've done. And here's a quick shot of my favorite blade I've made so far. Oh, thanks for subscribing and all that. See ya. Here's that quick shot of the blade that I made here, the Stormlord. As you can see, this is a through tang, which means that the tang is nice and strong and thick, goes all the way through the pommel where I then peened it over. It gives a very strong and well-balanced blade. Anyways, thanks again, everybody. Subscribe.